Very good. People talk to you on the subway. That really happens? People talk to you on the subway?
About Jesus.
About Jesus?
Have you ever been in the subway?
Not really. Preaching. John? Okay, so that's very interesting. If we think that evangelism is a Protestant attitude, it's a disaster.
That's just the first thing that came to mind.
That's the first thing that came to your mind. لأنه, as we all know, and Abuna Michael has said that many times, the idea of a mission church or even evangelize is one of the core goals of the Coptic Church. One of the core goals of the Coptic Church is to go out and preach and go out and spread the good word, and go out and evangelize. That's one of the main goal of our church. Unfortunately, and that's exactly what happens. And that's very true, because our congregation, generally speaking, the congregation is big, and the big congregation has what? Big problems. So Abuna and the church, instead of concentrating on evangelization, they concentrate on solving the marital problems. And that's exactly what happens. Because there is a congregation is big, so when the congregation is big, there is a lot of problems. So Abuna switch his job from evangelizing and preaching and sharing into problem solving, and that's a disaster. Like, if Joe and his wife are coming to Abuna and they're going to divorce tomorrow, of course he has to spend time with them months and months and months. Probably these things take time to solve this issue. So he becomes not having time to evangelize. That's why we think that the Coptic Church doesn't evangelize. The Protestants are very good in that, because they have in mind thinking of others. But please don't think that evangelism is a Protestant thing. I'll be the first Protestant if that's, Abuna Michael is going to be the first Protestant if that's true. That's not true. It's biblical. The idea and what that we're going to talk about today is biblical, and if it's biblical, it's part of the Coptic Church. So that's one thing. Number two, the idea of preaching. Yani preaching. Mina, you said preaching.
No, I said Protestant.
You said Protestant. Someone said preaching.
I said Protestant.
You said Nancy said preaching. So what do you mean by preaching?
Spreading the word.
Spreading the word. Excellent. Spreading the word. We're going to talk about what is the word that we are spreading, but that's going to come later on in our talk. The first part I wanna stress is what is evangelism, because I think evangelism is more than just spreading the word and more than just preaching. If I want to use a synonym for evangelism other than preaching, I would personally choose the word sharing. And some people say sharing is also Protestant, because I don't know, there are, like the word grace. When you talk about grace, people, he's Protestant, he talks about grace. The Coptic Church speaks about struggle and mercy and stuff like that. That's not true, guys. There is not, ما فيش حاجة makes it Protestant. If it's biblical, it's not Protestant or Orthodox. So evangelization is more than just preaching. If I say preaching, so you are basically defining this role to a certain type of people. So now it's Abuna's job, it's the leader's job, it's the elder job to preach. So we have nothing to do with evangelization. That's exactly, if you say that evangelism is preaching, okay, so basically none of you guys is evangelizing. And that's not true. That's not true. And what is the proof that this is not true? Please take off your mind that evangelism means Nana to go to Africa, stay in the market street in Nairobi, and open the Bible and preach. Take off from your mind that preaching or evangelization is standing on the podium and talking about Christ. That's not evangelization. That's not evangelism. Evangelism is not a job of one person or a type of person or a type of people. If it is, there is no point of doing it here. So we're talking about something that really doesn't concern anyone here. But what we are talking about is really something that concerns everyone here. It's not Abuna's job, it's not uncle's job, it's not the elder job, it's not the deacon job. Evangelism is the job of everyone. Because it's not only preaching. Preaching is part or a way or evangelism. Like evangelism has a broader meaning, which means sharing. Evangelism equals sharing. I'm going to prove that from the Bible. So I want you guys to open for me, please. Mark 2 verses. Mark 5:19. Who has that? Mina, please. Mina, Yaoud. If you have Mark 5:19 and Paula. John 4, the verse that says she went out, let's talk about the Samaritan woman. It says that she went out and tell everyone. Can you find it for me, please? إنسانا قال لي كل ما فعلت. A man has told me everything that I have said. Okay? It should be in the middle. So evangelism is not for certain people. Evangelism is not only preaching. Evangelism is not something Protestant. Evangelism is not only for Abuna or the elders. Evangelism is simply the role of everyone. Go and spread the good word. Okay? And that's what we're going to get from these two verses. Mina? Mark 5:19.
Mark 5:19.
Right.
Jesus did not let him, but said, "Go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you."
Go home and tell people how much the Lord has done for you. Do we know? Let me give you a background of this verse. Mark 5, it speaks about the miracle of, this man who was possessed by a legion. Okay, he was possessed by many demons. That's why they call these many demons a legion of demons. Many demons. And Jesus healed this person. And he told him, go and tell people. Can you read the verse again, please?
Okay, so Jesus told him as he tried to get on the boat, and he told him, "Go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done."
So this person who was healed, this demon-possessed person who was healed, wanted to follow Jesus. Basically, he wanted to get on the boat with him, and he wanted to follow Jesus. Like Jesus told him, go home and tell people what have the Lord has done for you, or have mercy on you, right?
Yeah.
Can you read the verse again?
Yeah, go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you.
That's it. Evangelism is you go to people and tell them how the Lord has done mercy on you. As the blind man said, I was
Blind.
and now as simple as that. It has nothing to do with podium and wa'az and the theology. It has nothing to do with it. I was blind and now I see. Go tell people اذهب وخبر بكم صنع الرب بك ورحمة. Go and tell people what the Lord has done for you and how he had mercy on you.
But we have to take from God in order to give to other people. Like, I can't give from my own knowledge, or I can't give from our, do you know what I'm saying?
I'm not talking about knowledge here.
Yeah.
Evangelism has nothing, مش عايز اقول has nothing to do with knowledge. It has to do with knowledge, but it's more than just knowledge. ما هو البروفيسور بتاع جو في NYU, he's a theology professor and he has a lot of knowledge and he's an atheist. You go to a theology professor, maybe at St. John's, he doesn't believe in whatever. It's not only knowledge. Evangelism is you go and tell people how the Lord had mercy on you. As simple as that. I was blind, like simple result. I was persecuting the Christians. I had pleasure in sending these Christians for persecution. But now the Lord had mercy on me. I'm not taking away the part of knowledge. Like when you say knowledge, it's all knowledge, sorry يعني كل الكلام ده is not for any one of us here. Who has knowledge? يعني I have been in my relationship with God for 30 years. Do you think I can answer all these people who even Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons or people who believe that there is a she God? And I don't know if you heard about that or not. Okay. There are people here around you that God is a mother God, not a father God. I mean, I'm not equipped to answer all of this. Does it mean that I'm going to stay home and because I don't have the knowledge? Knowledge is good, but evangelism is not only knowledge. Evangelism is mainly sharing with people what the Lord has done with you. I was blind, I was drug addict, I was porn addict, I was smoking addict, I was hating my life, I was hating my people, I was hating church, I was hating my parents, and now the Lord has changed me. I was, and now I am. The second verse, Paula, please. That's the Samaritan woman. John 4 is the Samaritan woman.
The woman then left her water pot, went her way into the city, and said to the men, "Come see a man who told me all things that I ever did."
That's it. Come see a man who told me everything that I have done. Come see a man who told me everything I have done. This woman did not preach. This woman did not speak about the proof of the resurrection or the authenticity of the Bible or the presence of God or proof whatever. She just shared her experience. Come see. A man has told me everything. Can he be the Messiah? Evangelism is you tell people what the Lord has done with you. As simple as that. This is very important because this is going to come in note of that. All of this is going to come later on. And why we don't do that? Why we don't evangelize? The second point that I want to say in evangelism is it's an attitude. Okay? Unfortunately, a lot of us believe or think that evangelism is, again, you go to Nairobi and you serve the homeless there, or you go to Ethiopia and you preach there, or if I don't start here, there is no point of going out there except for the experience. It's a good experience. Definitely, it's a good experience to go to Egypt and see the poor people. It's a good experience to go to Ethiopia and see the street boys. It's a good experience to go to Ethiopia and see the homeless. Like if I come back and don't continue with that, it's just an experience. It didn't change my life. And that's exactly what we tell people when you go on a mission trip. The goal of the mission trip is to change you. يعني, there are hundreds of people who can go to Ethiopia and Nairobi and Kenya and South Africa. And very easy to find people. Very easy. If this mission does not change you and change your attitude toward people, you're not benefiting spiritually from it. Because evangelism is a change of attitude. It's a lifestyle. let me put it this way, it's a lifestyle. Lifestyle, يعني I cannot be evangelizing in Nairobi, and when I come to New York, Queens, these people may stand. I go to Ethiopia and be the holiest person and serve and wash feet and come back, I'm the first. That's not evangelization. That's you go get an experience. It's nice. Definitely it's nice. I encourage everyone to get the chance to do it. Irene Kelly just did that and she had a wonderful experience. Everyone who goes outside of the box has a wonderful experience. And definitely I encourage everyone, if you get the chance, to do that. But if I only do that and my experience ends in this area, I'm not benefiting anything. Because this experience has to change my attitude toward people. And again, I'm not talking about, oh, when you come back from Nairobi, you're gonna be, you're gonna stand on the podium, وأوعظ. You're not gonna أوعظ. When I say it's an attitude, it's a lifestyle, it's a living lifestyle. It's a life that shows what God has done with you. And I know that we have said this experience 100 times. You have a huge cross, a nice Coptic cross, not a Protestant cross, a nice Coptic cross on the mirror, hanging there, showing everybody that you are what? Christian. Okay? Like you cut people off, you curse people. Melody always tell me you are so impatient. You cannot. In Florida, you drive 25 miles per hour. Imagine a New Yorker who's used to, even if you are not in rush, you drive 60, 70, 80, and you go there and you try to drive at the speed of 25 or 30 miles per hour. You can't. So the lifestyle that you, your attitude, your life that you show people is your best way of evangelizing. Like if you have a huge cross here, and again you are cursing people right and left, and you are cutting off people, and بتزعق, what kind of message that you are giving people? I'm going to share with you a very interesting experience that happened to me 2 days ago. I went to a Christian store to buy something, and we picked something, a couple of things, وبعدين رحنا we had a couple of questions to the guy. وبعدين I don't know, the guy flipped on us. Looks like, I don't know, we asked a lot of questions. We want to do a couple of things. The guy, he basically told me, if you are my kid, I will make you stand in front of the wall. I was really, you are in a Christian store. You expect, there is nice Christian music, there are Bibles all over. أنا بصراحة في الحاجات دي مش بستحمل أصوات الميلودي نفسه. We were buying a good amount. It's not like we're paying $5 or whatever. فقلت الميلودي نفسه. مشينا وبعدين لقينا هو كان في it looks like he was the owner, the one who was yelling at me was the owner. We were كان في the sale associate. فلقينا السيل associate بيجري ورانا بعد ما لeft. وبعدين he was very apologetic. قلت له when I come to a Christian store, I expect a Christian behavior. وخصوصا I was in the same store like a week ago and saw this same person opening the Bible with a customer and preaching to her. And I told him that's the type of person that is preaching to a customer and he's talking to us this way. I'm very offended by his Christian behavior. That's exactly what I'm talking here. And the way you act in the community and in school is the best preaching and evangelization that you can have. It's either you're going to give a very good impression about Christianity, or as the Bible says, the name of God is being what? Cursed because of Oh, all because of you. It's not all because of me. In Romans we read that the name of God is being cursed because of me. Please don't think that evangelism is preaching, standing on a podium, going on a street market, opening your Bible. All of this is good. Like, and this is not only evangelization. Evangelization has bigger spectrum than this. One, you share what God has done with you. Come, a man has told me everything I have done. Can he be the Messiah? You don't need to be a theologian to say that. You just need to have an experience. And I'm going to talk about, in the last 10 minutes, why we don't share and why we don't evangelize. Number two, evangelism is your attitude. It's the way of life. It's how you live your life. Are you, when you are seen by people, people are glorifying the big cross that you have on the mirror, while God is being cursed, or the name of God is being cursed because of you. Okay? So we spoke about what is evangelism. We spoke about what's in your mind about evangelism, what it's not and what it is. I read this quotation when I was preparing. بيقول لك كده, live the kind of life that is an example. Live the kind of life that is an example that will provoke people to question your faith. Live the kind of life. Live the kind of life that is an example that will provoke people to ask you about your faith. That's the biggest spectrum of evangelization. إن أنا بعيش, إن أنا I live a life that in itself is preached. Not by words. Like I'm living a life that provokes people to ask me, Samir, why you are living this way? Why you are acting this way? Why you are loving people? Why you are not cursing? Why you don't go to this place? Why you don't behave like these people? That's evangelism. Two more points. I want to speak first about what prevents me from having this attitude or evangelizing or share. Why we don't do that? Why we don't do that? Why, like Abuna Michael said last time, when we go to Roses, why when we go to Roses, we don't share anything together about what God has done in my life? خدوا بالكم, again, evangelization is not to convert people. Evangelization is sharing what the Lord has done in your life. Why do you think it's Protestant? Why it's out of my mind? Why it's not in my mind? Why I don't do that? Now?
We're not used to.
We are not used to, okay? We are not used to, very good.
It's understood it's
Protestant, okay? So it's a Protestant attitude, it's not my attitude. The Coptic Church did not teach me to share. And please, if you have this thinking, the Coptic Church is the mother of evangelization. It's the mother of, a Protestant church started like in the year 1600, something like that. So before all of this, that was the Coptic Church, evangelizing and spreading the word. So I'm not used to this. What else? Afraid. Excellent. Afraid. Very good. Actually, this is one of 2 points that I want to share. Afraid. Afraid of what? Being rejected. Very good. What else? I'm going to get to this point. Afraid of being rejected. What else? Afraid of what? One more thing.
They wouldn't know.
Huh?
Like you wouldn't know an answer to something.
I wouldn't know an answer to what is being asked and
Being made fun of.
being made fun of. And I think these are the main reasons. And one more, I'm gonna share it with you. And I think the lack of our attitude or the spirit of evangelism is either fear, being made of, being made fun of, okay, intimidation. أنا هروح أتكلم مع مينا إبراهيم هيقول لي يا عم أنت هتتدروش بقى وأيوه يا عم وخدنا تحت جناحاتك ومش كده. That's exactly what happens. We are unfortunately part of the failure of evangelization in our public church. If you go to a Protestant church, they will never do that because they are used to it. لكن روح لواحد كده من اصحابك وقول له طب let's read the Bible together. ايوه اعمل لنا فيها شيخ بقى وجبت لنا عمه. That's exactly what happens. That's exactly what happens. Intimidation. I'm gonna be made fun of. Okay? I'm afraid of being asked a question that I don't know the answer. But believe it or not, no one has answers to everything. No one. بس يعني احنا we don't like to admit it. لكن no one has the answer to everything. If you don't know, like if people see Christ in you, you're gonna just say simple, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to this. Let me get back to you. And if you get back to them, you can't imagine how much you're gonna grow into their eyes. هيحترموك بجد, they're gonna respect you بجد. ليه؟ لأن we had the courage to say I don't know, but you made an effort to go and find the answer. One of the main reasons that we don't share together is, احنا قلنا sharing is come see what the Lord has done for me. اذهب وخبر بكم صنع الرب بك ورحمة. Go and tell people what the Lord has done for you. Or come see someone has said everything about me. One of the main reasons, and I'm afraid this is very common, and I don't have this experience. I have no experience to share it with anyone. If I have an experience, I feel when you have good news, what is the first thing you do? Huh? Just share it with the people that you know. I went through that 100 times الفترة اللي فاتت. I go out of the doctor or an X-ray or a PET scan, texting everyone that I know that he cares about my exam and telling him the good news. If you have a good news, you're not going to be able to hold it. If God has done something in your life, you're not going to be able to hold the good news. صدقوني زي ما بقول لكم. If you get 2400 in your SAT, you're going to tell everyone. The moment you get the result in the mail or the email or text or whatever, you're going to spread to everyone that is close to you. Like we don't share because we don't have anything to share. هو ربنا عمل in my, what did God do in my life? Can I go and say, come, the Lord, I can go and say what the Lord has done and how the Lord had mercy on me? Do you have something to share? I think the two main reasons why I don't share, it's either because people are going to make fun of me, whether in church or in school or at work, or I have nothing to share.
Or I don't acknowledge.
Or you don't see.
I don't see it.
You don't see how God is doing or acting or working in your life. Like if you see something happening, if you were blind and now you can see, you're going to tell everyone. Texts. But now you can make a mass text or a group text. Come, see what the Lord has done. And that brings us to the main problem of evangelism, is my relationship with God. And that's the point that Paula has spoken about in the beginning. You need to have this kind of experience. If you don't have this experience, guys, there is nothing for you to share. If you don't have experience with God, what you're going to share? Your experience with the devil? You know what we do? We share our experiences in sin. Come, let's hang out together on Friday. Let's go to this place together. It's a beautiful place. It's 2 for $10, and you can drink all you can drink. That's what we share together. Instead of having the good news, and instead of having the experience with God that we would like to share, because we don't have this experience, we share what we live. And this is what we live. How many of us cares about sharing and telling people come to the meeting? It's not that boring. Besides Samir speaking, like, we're going to have fun together and we'll go to Roses together. هنبلع Samir for 45 minutes وبعد كده even that we don't do. Even that we don't do.
No, we tell it.
We love you.
If you have something exciting in your life about your relationship with God, you won't be able to hold it. Believe me. The good news spreads like fire. And the bad news also spread like fire. But sometimes you are very كده lean, neutral. ما فيش ولا good news ولا bad news ولا أي حاجة. Life كده is going very ملهاش meaning. No meaning. That's why one of the biggest questions, هو ربنا خلقني ليه? Why did God create? Why did God create you? Well, if you don't have this experience, you will never be able to find the reason why God created you. Never. Because the whole answer to this question is God has created you so that you share His mercy with others. Unfortunately, you don't have this experience. You don't have this experience. عشان كده we have nothing to share. And if we have something to share, we tend to share what is negative. How many people I asked about them on Friday night? Oh, they are hanging out together. They are playing March A and the meeting today. They are hanging out on a birthday. They are going out to activities. Instead of sharing and helping people, the good news, we share and help people in our ugly part of life. Two main reasons why we don't do that. طبعا غير I hope موضوع Protestant ده خلصنا منه. لكن two real main reasons why we don't evangelize and we don't share. Number one, الناس هيقولوا عليا, people are gonna make fun of me. And number two, I have nothing to share. If this demon-possessed person, Christ did not heal him, he would have nothing to share. Makes perfect sense. There is nothing to share. I'm not going to share anything. Samaritan woman, same thing. St. Paul, same thing. If you don't have this experience with God, there will be nothing to share. That's why we share الموفي ده طلع النهارده, الاكترس دي معرفش عملت ايه, that's what we talk about. But there is nothing vertical between me and God. Any question?
Is it my responsibility to find something to share?
Very good. Is it my responsibility to find something to share?
I don't think it's your responsibility. It's regardless. If you have a good experience, like you said, you're going to share it. You're going to want to share it.
I mean, in terms of God, though, specifically.
Well, if we are in a relationship and I'm being so nice to you, you have it. You don't have to. It's not like a responsibility. It's a responsibility to share. Like it's a relationship. أنا بحب بولا قوي، بولا بيحبني قوي. So Paula has a lot to say about me to people. A good things, I hope. Because we have this kind of experience. And experience overflows, guys. اللي بيحب ربنا is gonna overflow محبة ربنا for everybody. If you love God, this love is gonna overflow to everyone. It's very normal. A person, يعني يمكن انتوا you didn't go into engagement or marriage or stuff like that. لكن if you really love someone in your engagement and hopefully in your marriage, let me share something with you that happened, and I'm gonna close with this. طبعا there is a lot that بس أنا I want to concentrate on this one. Before we came to the States, that was like maybe more than 25 years ago. It happened that Madeleine, my wife, went to France. Supposedly, she was supposed to stay 9 months. I was finishing something back home, and I was supposed to join her after 3 weeks. So she left. We were at that time, like I would say, 2-3 years in marriage. الكلام ده like 30 years ago. It is actually more than 30 years. relationship اللي كانت بيننا, you want to call her and ask about her. She's your wife. You want to call her because you miss her. Okay? No, she is. بس الكلام ده كان 30 years ago. فيعني 30 years ago I want to call فرنسا. طبعا انتوا 30 years ago you were not even an idea. يعني you were not, يمكن your parents might not have been also married. لكن at that time 30 years ago, in order to make a phone, in order to get a landline at my house in Egypt, it took me 10 years. Back then, in the 70s or the late 70s, it took me 10 years to get a landline to my house. Okay? At that time, ما كانش في حاجة اسمها كارت ولا سكايب ولا فايبر ولا whatever ولا سيل فونز ولا أي حاجة زي كده. You used to go to a booth, كشك بتاع اتصالات, some of them, okay? I will never forget this. الناس كله اللي بيتكلم outside, anyone who makes an international phone call goes to this place. فاهم next to you اللي بيتكلم السعودية واللي بيتكلم even domestic. يعني if you want to call سوهاج or أسيوط or Mania or whatever, you go to this booth. There is one كده booth for international and 2 or 3 for domestic والحاجات. So you go there, أيوة واحد أسيوط, أيوة واحد فرنسا, أيوة واحد. You actually wait to make a 3-minute phone call at least 3 to 4 hours until the people in front of you are كله, it's one person, كله رايح لمينا. But imagine all of you guys, you want to call, you want to make a phone call, whether international or to another محافظة. So مينا يخلص مع توني, وبعدين يخلص مع جو, وبعدين يخلص مع مينا. لغاية لما يجي يقول سيادتك to make a 3-minute phone call. It takes you 3 to 4 hours. But you do it. You know why? Because you love it. I know why. Because you love it. When you have an experience, when you experience the love, you don't need to have a responsibility. It's going to come like that. It's going to come automatically. Because you love and you have this experience. Our problem that we don't have this experience. If you have the experience, it's going to come out in sharing with other people. Don't be afraid. Christ has been rejected. Someone said you would be rejected. A man said you would be rejected. Yeah. There is a very big possibility that you would be rejected and people are going to make fun of you. But Jesus also was rejected. And people called him سكير وشريب خمر, drunk, and drinker of wine. That was people was saying about Jesus. You're not going to be better than Jesus. They made fun of him, and they rejected him. So I expect they're going to make fun of me and reject me. Like if I have something nice in my life, if I'm going through an experience, a godly experience, I cannot but to share it with other people. I'm going to stop here. I just want to summarize what we were talking about. We said that evangelization or evangelism is not a podium, requires not knowledge, like it requires an experience. It is a life. It's a life. It's not related to a place or people, and that's very important, guys. Because we have this misconception that evangelism is when I go to Kenya, I evangelize. When I go to Ethiopia, when I go to the homeless. No, evangelism starts here. Sharing what God has done with you. How much God has done for you and had mercy on you. Any questions?
Like how can a person develop a closer relationship with God, how to have that kind of experience with God, and how to overcome fear?
Okay, so how can a person have a better relationship with God? I can give you the typical answer: read the Bible, go to church, have confession, have communion.
I think you need to involve God in the simplest things in your life.
Okay, very good.
We tend to know God only when we have big decisions to make, like what am I going to do in my life, my career.
Very good. So get him involved in small things in your life. How you improve your relationship with me?
Talking to you.
Talking to me, that's number one. Okay, so we have hundreds of ways to talk to me. What else? Why are you gonna love me?
Because I love you.
Why?
Because you're nice.
Because I'm lovable. Because I'm nice. Right? I love you because you're nice. And you are a great person. And I love Joe because he's a wonderful person. And he's an awesome person. Now I'm using attributes of God to people. You love him and you have a relationship and you increase this relationship with God by knowing who he is. And I insist on this point. When you know who God is, you can't stop except loving him. When I know how Paula is wonderful, I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna communicate with you, I'm gonna talk with you, and the more I talk with you, I communicate with you, I'm gonna find more how great you are. That's exactly how is my relationship with God. I talk to him, I experience him even like Nadine is saying, in the small thing in my life, and when I experience him, I find out how great he is. And when I find how great he is, I get closer to him. And when I get closer to him, I find how great he is. And when I know how great he is, I get, it's vicious circle. Think of God. عشان كده عملنا praise 2 weeks ago. And we said that praise is you think of God himself. You experience him, and when you experience him, you know him. And when you know him, you love him and you experience him. How to overcome fear? How to overcome fear? How to overcome fear?
Yes, put yourself through it.
You have to push yourself through it. And you're talking about fear of people. Fear of people, right? Fear from people. Okay.
If you're talking about fear of like preaching, which is what I assume you're talking about, you always gotta see what type of personality are you. So Abuna Anthony put it in a really nice way. He's saying, imagine you're in the mall and you see Abuna walking towards you, and you're with your friends. If you're gonna walk up to him and kiss his hands, it's very different. It feels like two different worlds just collided into each other. The Coptic world, and then you're outside. The idea that to overcome your fear, it has to become one. So you literally, this is like when you have your mature personality, your Christianity, your faith, religion, it's what you're going to become.
I think one of the ways to overcome fear, would you prefer to obey God and be an ambassador for Him, or stay in your fear? I think what
Or you're afraid of. Or you're more afraid of.
exactly. يعني you are afraid of people to make fun of you, ولا you wanna share the good news? Remember again, Jesus was rejected. Jesus, he went to a place and he couldn't perform any miracle. Right? He couldn't perform any miracle. And he was kicked out from other places. And they called him names. Sikir wa Sharif Khamr. I don't know what the name means. Drunk and glutton. Okay? That's what they called him in some places. Let it be. If I'm sharing the good news and you want to make fun of me, I think you're going to be more blessed. It's better, it's better, like you're going to be blessed if I make fun of you, better than I glorify you. Evangelism is not for Abuna. It's not for uncle. It's not for the one who's 6 years old. Evangelism is for anyone who has experienced God and wants to share this experience, whether by simple message, like the Samaritan woman, or this Legion guy, come, see, someone has told me everything. Go and tell people what God has done for you. Or by provoking people with your lifestyle to come and ask you questions. As simple as that. Evangelism, it's either you have experienced God in a way that you want to share it with other people. Come, a person has told me everything. And that's the least, guys, we can do. Please, we encourage each other for, sorry to say, the worst thing to do. We want to restart our life and change the way we act and we deal with each other, and encourage people to do what is right. So evangelism, it's either by sharing what the Lord has done in your life, or to provoke people to come and ask you the reason of your hope. You provoke them through your lifestyle, through the way you live, through the way you act, how different you are. Daniel, there is nothing wrong in eating what he was offered. It's not like a sin. Like he preferred to be on a specific diet. Being different. John the Baptist, I love this about John the Baptist. John the Baptist, أنا بحس إنه أنت مالك أنت ومال the wife of the king. Herod the king. See, he didn't ask you. He didn't ask you what do you think about me marrying my stepdaughter or stepwife. Stepwife, sister-in-law, whatever. Sister-in-law. مرات أخوك. ما أعرفش مرات أخوك تبقى إيه؟ Sister-in-law. لكن he decided to be different. He decided to say the truth. And it cost him his head. Like he decided to be different. That's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that provokes people to ask you about your faith. Two things you can do now in roses, when you go home, or even before roses. Share what the Lord has done with you and have mercy with you. مش هتشير, you don't have to share how to answer a Mormon or how to answer a Jehovah's Witness. You share what the Lord has done in your life. The second way is with your lifestyle, you provoke people to ask you the reason of your hope. The reason of the hope, that was the topic that was supposed to talk about today, by the way. Was, yeah, it should have come in the points that I prepared. That's for the sake of time, I'm going to stop. Let's change the way we live. Let's change the way we interact with each other.